I'm going to take you through the onboarding journey for financial services. So typically one of the most archaic onboarding journeys that there has been, and financial services as an industry has come a long way over the last few years. Fintech, the boom of fintech has seen lots of change in this area. So I guess first and foremost, let's walk through where we have come from. So where has the journey started? So typically, the onboarding journey for an FI, a financial services industry, would see a in-branch solution. So a conventional onboarding method would see the consumer move to the actual bank branch. So you would go up to your teller, you would present your documents, and you would prove your identity in this manner. And I guess what happened over the years as bank branches started to get smarter, as footfall and traffic wanted to be pushed away from branch and to a more digital onboarding experience, the banks started to offer more ways of being able to complete at least some of that application at home. So you would have maybe an online form, and then you would still present your ID into a bank branch. And consumer demand and technology has enabled most FIs nowadays to complete a fully digitalized onboarding journey. So all documents, all KYC, all proof of identity should all be able to be done completely seamlessly online. And whilst we look at the journey from where we have come from, the transformation in the financial sector has been great. And anybody that would have joined yesterday's sessions would have listened to me talk about the changes in not just regulation, but financial services as well. And a growing number of traditional banks have been investing heavily in their digital transformation. And this has mainly been spurred by the regulatory changes and the threat of new fintech players coming into the market. Old FIs would have had to revamp existing infrastructure to be able to meet today's demand, whereas new fintech players coming into the market, digital players, not mainly FIs that don't have physical bank branch presences, were able to build their platforms from scratch and be able to be more demand and more digital savvy. And banks have to meet the demand of their tech savvy customer. With the growth of technology, consumers have become more savvy, and they demand more from their onboarding journey and from their FI. And it's not just about innovation in products and features. Banks and financial institutions have reassessed their own, transforming their own onboarding processes, and thinking more about the customer and the customer's experience, and finding a comfortable fit for them without friction. And customers expect simplicity nowadays. They expect simplicity in their design, and they expect the application to be done 100% online and completed via your mobile phone. So why are we still seeing high levels of onboarding abandonments? Well, it will come as a surprise, and it did to me actually as well, that nearly 40% of customers are still abandoning their onboarding process online. And it's mainly because the process is still taking too long. There are still some processes that take a long time. And I guess a lot of this has to do with the regulation itself, and not necessarily the FI's onboarding journey. Regulation demands that we provide a lot of information. The FCA, KYC, the e-money regulations are demanding more and more information, and the user is becoming a little bit tired with having to provide as much information as it does. And 26% of customers feel that an easy enrollment and login are the most important criteria when they decide who to bank with. That speed of onboarding and that ease of logging in is one of the biggest decision makers when choosing which bank you want to go with. And 38% of customers still see the user experience as one of the most important form factors when choosing your digital bank. So getting the onboarding journey right, being a speedy onboarding journey and a user interface, what can you do whilst you're in your banking experience, are some of the main reasons that we're choosing to probably have a second bank, your digital bank plus your traditional high street bank as well. And what should a digital onboarding journey look like as a business? Well, it has to be speedy onboarding nowadays has to be fast, and it has to be simple, and it has to be 100% digital. Nobody wants to travel to complete any information nowadays. It has to be available on mobile, tablet, and laptop, and it has to be 100% paperless, no forms to sign at all. And it must comply with regulation, obviously. So if we look at the digital onboarding from a customer's perspective, so what does a consumer demand nowadays? Well, they want simple language. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you take a look at lots of your digital banks nowadays, they're using language that we understand. Gone are the days of banking jargon. You will see lots of color, you will see emoji icons, you will see language that resonates. And lots of banks are starting to talk to you in a way that you understand, and that old banking marketing jargon seems to be falling away from the wayside. And that goes with the friendly tone, that tone of voice. Your company language is now changing to fit and resonate more with the consumer. We've spoken about applications, have to be online, has to be mobile first. There has to be some element of customer personalization, and the request that information is not too heavy. Only take what you can in order to make the process as quick as you can. And applications don't necessarily need to be that long, and customers don't want to go visit any physical branches. With that in mind, I thought it would be quite interesting to just give you some idea of what we do as a financial institution here at Clear. And these are some of the screenshots that we have from our onboarding journey, and you can take account up as we go along. But you can see right from the very first screen of registering yourself, we're only asking to confirm your age and your residency. Are you over 18? Can you have a financial product? And do you live in the UK? Yes, great. Okay, well, let's choose a password. Brilliant. And then lastly, we ask you to confirm some interests. And then the next pages that you see are all the information that we capture, and we capture that digitally. So we're asking you to scan your ID. So we're doing identification KYC by digital methods, and that's a passport or a driving license. Once you've taken a picture of both sides or both pages of those documentations, we're then asking you to take a selfie, and that selfie is comparing your government issued ID against a liveness check to make sure that it is you that's physically completing the process. And that's pretty much the process complete. We take all the information that we need from there. We KYC you, your product is now registered, it's open, and it's ready to go. And to get you familiar with using our services, the next page that you see will be a quick start guide, and that talks you through all of the features of using our product and a how-to guide of using it. So you can really see that a company like ours that started from scratch in the digital fintech world was really able to onboard people quickly, seamlessly, and informatively, and then give you all of the information that you need to use your product and use your app, all within a really quick and snappy quick start guide. And that's it for me, guys. So I hope that was useful. I hope that gave you some information around where we've come from, physically walking into a branch, talking to somebody, presenting your physical documentation, all the way through to a quick and snappy onboarding and informative digital process that you can do in the comfort of your own home.
I'm going to talk to you about what does COVID look like for us in terms of from an education company standpoint, and what we saw and how we had to change based on our new customers. COVID really changed our business, and whilst many companies were seeing a backlash in sales kind of falling, we were actually seeing our sales ramp up. Lockdown was actually kind of a blessing for our company. With kids at home, we had a product that people really wanted, and traditionally we had a very specific type of customer base, and that really radically changed during lockdown. For starters, we were just quite lucky because we were just really well placed from working from home. So the company that I run, we have always been a home working group. We don't believe in offices. We like to be able to source our talent pool from wherever that talent is. And so really, we were already well placed for being in a sprint agile way of working. And that was really good for us. So as I said, like schools closed, there were a lot of parents that needed educational services, and we had to think about how could we better onboard our customers. And just going back to something that Daniel said, it's about making that digital onboarding really simple and easy for the customer. And it is definitely about the language and how do you get them to get on board. As you can see, lockdown really had an impact for our business. So you can see from our traditional ABC1 customers, had steady sales over time. And then you can see what happened as soon as we hit COVID and what happened for our business, like sales just went through the roof. It's really, really stressful time for us being able to suddenly onboard so many customers. And we always offered quite a bespoke hand-holding process through the onboarding journey. And we had to change that. We had to make that be digital because we just did not have the team to be able to spend that time with each and every customer, getting them onboarded, especially the schools. So we also lowered that barrier to entry as well. So we took the step to massively drop our prices to ensure that everybody could be able to use our products. And that actually resulted in us getting a whole new type of customer that we had never seen before, those from a lower income bracket. We had to suddenly really understand all these new types of customers that we had that was so very different to the customers that we had had before. And so for us, it was very much about building that into the onboarding journey. So making sure that we were asking during that sign-up process and post sign-up process exactly what they wanted to make sure that we understood that we were meeting the needs of those customers. Making sure that we were talking to those customers continuously was the best thing that we could do. And it was a real change in shift, where we used to traditionally go and ask our customers maybe every quarter through a survey, ask them how we're doing, what things do we want. We had to kind of reinvent how we did that. So, making sure that on the website, it was really easy to give feedback to us, putting that into the welcome journey as well for our customers to be able to feed back in real time to us. We all needed to make changes. We had to massively pivot. So whilst we've always been a very agile based business, what we had to do is actually going from 30-day sprints and trying to build lots and lots of product at the same time. We had to really refocus that down into weekly sprints and really focusing on getting the user interactions correct, getting walkthroughs, step-through guides implemented on the website so that customers could easily onboard themselves. And that was a bit of a change for us, and making sure that we, just focus on building those deep connections that allow us to build that loyalty with our customers. And what we've seen is actually post-lockdown, well, as we're coming out of lockdown, we're still retaining a lot of that customer base that we felt would actually probably naturally disappear as things started to unlock and as children went back to school. It was really all about focusing on listening. And, from the moment we went into lockdown 1, we changed our business from being heavily focused on marketing to being heavily focused on the customer and understanding what they wanted and building feedback loops in, understanding exactly what it is that they want, what were their pain points, how could we reiterate that, how could we do very quick, agile pushes to test that as well with our user base and just be that constantly reiterating. And that's actually become now a big key focus for our business. Instead of focusing predominantly on content, we are a content business and content is key for us. We've had to really think about how do we deal with all of these new types of customers. What's the future look for us? Well, as I said, our customers are continuing to stay. Those customers that we thought would naturally drop off, we have a whole new set of things that we need to look for. So we have children that have lost their learning, we have the rusty learning, the missed learning, and how can we now reiterate our business to focus on those needs? So how can we help children to get back up to scratch, for those who still are maybe suffering from not having enough devices in the home? How can we combat that and make it a lot easier and reiterate our products and find new marketplaces in order to help these children as well. And that's led on to us like looking at deals with the likes of Amazon. So we have been working with them to basically put STEM education for free to anybody with a Prime account. And that's something that we're continuously working on. But we're also looking at how can we, reiterate that into things like digital workbooks, printable workbooks, print on demand, looking at a whole different aspect of our business that we never really had done before because we were always a digital first. That's a little bit about what we've been doing. And that's it from me.